Okay, so I'm in my bedroom again. I've been up all night. Stella is doing so bad. Oh my God. There's no freaking way. We're not going to be interrupted. Like, no way. I have been interrupted. Oh my gosh. And one of the things, that makes things more complicated is my guest is, I don't know, scared to sleep in her room or something. And so she keeps sleeping on the couch. But when Stella's really bad, I sleep on the couch with Stella next to her bed, because Stella's bed's next to the couch, because it can't fit in my room. Because before, Stella always slept with me in bed ever since she was a puppy. And we had that great big giant bed. And then when she started getting, it was weird, because it was like something else happened besides her hips. I don't know what happened. And to me, it seems like some sort of stroke, because it's like she forgot stuff. Like, but anyway, she couldn't get on the bed anymore. And then I had some different beds, trying all different beds. And then we bought this really expensive bed. And then, but it's huge. And my house is tiny. So it's out by the couch. And so when she's not doing well, I get all the lighting set up and the peaceful tunes on the TV. And then I just lay out there with her. And then, I don't know, she does better. So I'm going to probably have to tell the company that I'm going to have to sleep out on the couch. There's only one couch. And then, I mean, she could always sleep on the chair or something. But I haven't had sleep. And so, man, I am exhausted. It was weird. The other day, though, I slept till 5, but it was very chopped up. It was like 2 hours, get up, 2 hours, get up, 2 hours, get up. But tonight, it was like I went to bed at 8. It was 10:30 or 11, and then 1, and then that was it. I've been up ever since. I think it's almost 4 now. And it's just been nonstop. Right now I have some warm, I decided to heat up some warm, not heat them up, just some towels, like hand towels, and put them under hot water and get them real warm, and then lay them across her. And so, 1 year I tried using a heating pad. I think it was 2 seasons ago. Because I'm just praying to God this was the last season of this. I just keep asking, like, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Like, this is mental to me. Like, so fucking just Groundhog Day. It's so crazy. I don't understand what else. To me, it's like, fuck, I did something really fucked up in a past life. There's a lot of shit I got to put in balance. Like, I must have been some fuckery. Like, I don't understand it. I'm just, the only thing that I can hold on to is the switch going the other direction. And then at this point now, it's just like, oh my God, I just feel, I don't even know. I think I'm just too tired and too burnt out. And it's just like, just whatever. Let's just see what happens. Just whatever. Just and, through this process, it's definitely, I see people, like I'll tell you some of the stuff that I saw today, like more talk on for, this word to be tagged for sure. So just bragging, about stuff, that place, it's Fort. Then, where a lot of people who are under control of the experiment, like 83 of them, I guess, now have passed. They're passing as quick as everybody in the streets. I can't even believe how many fucking articles I've seen, little tiny kids. I just saw Diamond, or Silk, talking, doing a news conference, because she was there when Diamond passed. She did CPR and stuff. And so she's a heavy hitter speaking out, she's not gonna, and she's somebody who would be obvious that they take them out, but fuck, they take people out obviously all the time. Who was it I just saw? And the only thing, somebody else who disappeared. Oh, the guy who got the picture of the giant. Like, people have been freaking out about that whole situation. There's so much talk of him, and I didn't know his name. And I keep hearing people say about his name, and I like, who are they talking about? So many people. And then somebody was like, when you got that picture, so as soon as, but the guy who, I'm pretty sure it was Canada mountains, but I've talked about it before, the guy who got the picture of the giant crossing across the mountain and then put it out there, well, he's disappeared. He's been disappeared forever. There's a whole scenario that went on. You can look up about that. Like, there's all people talking about, it's a whole conspiracy going on about it. And the things that went on before his disappearance, now his disappearance, but now knowing what they did to that guy with the big fucking portal yard, to just pay you, and then they just take over the area, and so they can test it. So, they probably just shut that guy up. He either took the payoff and lived, or he's gone. And which made me also think about, when everybody was freaking out looking for Max, and then all of a sudden he's like, hey, I'm over here in Las Vegas. It's like, oh, that's funny. So you kind of just disappeared off the map too for a few years. So like the NDAs or whatever the fuck they're called, and the non-disclosure agreements, and the payoffs and shit. Like, and that guy was totally truthful when he told that guy with the farm. It's like, you either do it or we just do it anyways. We'll take everything and put you in jail. We don't care. We've got crimes we got people out there committing crimes. We need fall guys all over the place. We got to keep those criminals in line. We got to keep them out there working in service. So we just need some fall guys. So you'll work out just fine. So, that's people get a big hard peak sometimes at this corrupt system. So that guy is also, disappeared, where everybody's freaking the fuck out. So, and the UFO thing. So now everybody's talking about that big red cloud I was talking about yesterday. And so more people are saying it was in Turkey. I don't know if it was on the Turkey news or what, but it was on Turkey. It's just weird because the first time I saw it was a guy, and this whole voice thing could have been added in. It could have been a sound that they added in because he was out there. Just look at this. Like, that makes no sense. Somebody tell me what the hell this is. And showing the footage. But I don't know, if it was Turkey. So I don't know. I just know this big red cloud thing is out there going around, and so many people too talking about all the UFO sightings. And then you have people who are showing, some of them are CGI, some are debunked, some are this, some are that. But no matter what, it's all to get people talking. And I mean, aliens are real. Like, come on, people. Like, grow up, wake up. It's ridiculous for people to be like, I don't know. You think they're real? You think they're monsters? You think they're going to get... It's like, oh my God, sometimes this place, so, and I'm tired. It just is like, so annoying. But this one was kind of, it really showed me exactly how this works. Because this was a younger girl, the mom. So she was, I don't know, probably in her late 20s or early 30s or something. She wasn't like 40s, I wouldn't think. But she was in Georgia, and so the tornadoes hit there, and they hit in places they weren't supposed to hit, unexpected and stuff. And so those places were devastated, unprepared. People are devastated, unprepared. There's a total, like an annihilation is going on over there. It's a total disaster. And this one was really upset, like, about the shallow shit on social media and his whining and whatever. I don't even... She was just so disgusted. And she said, her neighbor, 5-year-old, was killed when a tree fell down on their car and impaled through and killed their kid. And this girl was like, you guys have no priorities. You just don't care about anything. Nothing matters to you. The most stupid shit. And so she was going, and it's the reprioritizing. It's the balance. It's being able to look out and see. But the thing is that what you're looking out and see has not seen itself. And when it sees itself, that is when the shadow self is seen. And that is when they have to face the hard, cold facts of like, yeah, I'm a fucking shallow, like, I don't give a fuck. You know, somebody's dying next to me, I'd probably pull out my phone and get some footage real quick so maybe I can get popular. Like, people are going to have to see that about themselves and question themselves like, ooh, God, why am I so skeezy? Why am I like this? Why am I like that? What in me is making me be this way? And so, you know, I can see totally how it's working, because when you have that reflection to see in society, then it makes you, you know, question society, question the morals of the places where you are and the people you're around, and to see, like, I mean, most people are so distracted with like the illusion, with the artificial, superficial illusion of this reality of, you know, whatever shiny object they can chase, which is so weird how the shiny and the reflection and the chase and the looking for self outside of self, and anything that's dangled is a chase, and then it's weird, like it all goes together somehow. Like, everything is reflective of itself, and micro, macro of the universe. Everything is a response to the thing prior. You know, if you get what I'm saying, it's like that same thing. Like when the hand moves, how it's all connected. And so, anyways, there was some other stuff that I had seen. I just saw that one girl talking about the tornadoes. I haven't seen a bunch of people, but she's like, there's no power, there's no water, people have no food. She said it's a total mess. It's a total crisis, and it's really horrible. And you know, and in some places it seems life just goes on. But I guess I did see another thing. I keep seeing Ohio. Ohio pops up so much. And there was some sort of big thing that happened in Wyoming too. And Utah. Utah to me has got so much stuff coming out. Like, there's this kid who I keep following his story, and he's in Utah. There's several of these kids in Utah coming out with these. And this one, I think he's 16 years old. And so he looks, you know, pretty grown. I mean, he's a pretty big grown guy. And he said his dad started, you know, doing the saw back in the back rear thing when he was, I think, 3. He was a toddler when his dad started, and then did it until he was, I don't know, 6 or 10. I can't remember. That there was a significant amount of years, this child being young, that his dad just used him as a toy. And then I think he did it to the sister too. I'm pretty sure. And then he, somehow the kids got taken away or something. I think the son charged the dad or something. And this is all in Utah. But the Utah, there's fucking states that are there to protect. You know, I mean, these people know how to. And that's the part of the stuff coming up to the surface, you know, and what this kid is going through. Like right now, I think yesterday he was going to go live because the courts said, no, it's okay. His dad can do it. No, well, it's fine. As a matter of fact, you need to go back and live with him. There is none of this, no. And so the courts are taking the kid and placing him into his dad's home. They're forcibly taking him and putting him in his dad's home. And I'm pretty sure that's the kid who said, I'm so scared because since I told, my dad said he's going to me. So, yeah. But, you know, to me, when I saw Utah underwater on the doomsday map, it made total sense. Same with California and stuff. It's places that they're full of just disgusting stuff. Like saw this person, and they were talking to Californians, I think, or something about all of the horrible stuff of California. but what those laws and stuff that those people are willing to accept, and the ego behind so many of those people, that they think they're the best, they're the most progressive, they're the ones that are keeping this whole country going because California is, all this stuff. It's like, you guys live in a very disgusting place. You walk over homeless people. I just saw a girl, New York, I guess, has gone so down. It's this girl was there visiting for 3 days, and she said it's so disgusting and so scary here. It's so I can't even believe she said you have to walk over poop all over on the sidewalks. And she said, and then she goes, "Oh my God, there's some right here." And so she shows on the ground. She said, "Oh, what's the chances?" I'm like, here I'm talking about you gotta walk around poop, and there's criminal, like I've seen people being beaten in the street. I've seen cops beating people, and she's just like, it's horrible. And and then the poop on the street, and there it is. Like, so I don't know. I mean, that is definitely one of those things, like I've said, that there's so many things that are just gone. Like, people are holding on to something that's from the past, and it's already gone. Those New York moments, that time, that period of time. And if we didn't take that opportunity to go enjoy it, it was over. And I tried too late, I tried. Quarantine had started, and I thought, at the time when it started, I thought, it really would just be a few weeks or something. I had no idea that we were going to, I was going to go to New York for Christmas and go Christmas shopping, but that was over, all of that stuff. Then I was going to go to the Keys on my birthday, and there was a hurricane. And, I don't know, there's just been so much disruption. And it's like, there's so many things that are gone. Like the Keys, they'll be gone. And the storms are relentless. They're not letting up in the least. And out here where I am, it's just frustrating because, I'm so sore too. I am so, like, I completely get why Stella, I am so fucking sore. I cannot believe it. I'm so uncomfortable. And I know, people are just dropping dead, which I still say, the dropping dead fast, even though it's very traumatic, it is still like, what? I mean, that's the way to go. Just hurry up, get out, move on. Like, yeah, it tripped me out kind of, like, for Diamond to go. And then it's like, oh my gosh, that's so weird. Because now is Silk just going to be out there doing her show by herself? Is she going to find another person? Like, I don't know. Those two became very... I just saw them during 2020. I think they might have already been known by, like, conservative people, but, before 2020, I didn't really ever talk to any conservative people. Even in 2016, when I was going in and reading the comments on Facebook where I knew how many people hated her, I still didn't really realize, to me, it was just like, okay, well, you're just looking at who's going to vote for who. And to me, it seemed like there was just as many on both sides. Like, she was so heavily hated. Like, I wasn't just sitting there thinking, like, this is just conservatives saying this. No, it seemed very across the board. And that's why it was like, okay, this is just weird. Why would they even put her, especially when they knew Bernie was a real, what is that word? Like, not component, like a real contender, like with him and Trump, like that was a real, but, I mean, they couldn't obviously control Bernie in the way that they wanted because they had to get Hillary. So I don't know. And they obviously knew, like, they had the numbers on their side because they had controls of the machines. So they weren't worried about it, but they were not expecting the other guy to be so popular, especially with the media, attacks that were done on him. But I don't know. It is weird because I'll think about this stuff. Like, I know the conservative people, I think, are more in touch with their spiritual side, like their spirit, because they have awareness, they have a soul, so they go to church. They just give away their spiritual side to religion and to the controllers. So, but they still know they have a soul. And that's the difference with the progressives. They are science worshipers and they doubt they have a soul. They think that's like a fantasy that us people who are can't accept that life and death is just inevitable and you cease to exist. That those of us who think we have a soul, that we are just living in this illusion because we fear death so much that we can't handle it. It's like, bitch, I don't fear death. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, I may fear the actual process, the actual moment of death. I may not sit there and be like, well, I want to be stabbed, I want to be burned, I want to be drowned, you know. I may not be like all about that, but the the what comes next, yeah, like I'm not scared at all. And it's the people, the irony here is the people who believe that they don't have a soul is the ones who think that they can stop themselves from dying, you know. So they were the ones who get these on. Like, I couldn't believe that one lady that I saw that doing that video, like, you know, it's all our fault. Everybody who hasn't done that, it's our fault that this drags on. You know, we wouldn't even be having this anymore if we would just all comply. Like, come on. Like, you know, it's wacky, man. It's like, you know, this is something, and this is, I'm totally, I mean, I hope to God that anybody who has listened to me has really gotten it into their understanding that when I talk about anything, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. I'm not trying to say anybody's better or any of that stuff, that someone's right or wrong, because there is no right or wrong. It's perspective. It's your perspective. It's how you feel about something. So you know, there's a lot of things, but when I talk about certain situations, the reason I'm talking about them is so that people can see and recognize themselves. We have to break these patterns. We have to recognize these toxic ways that our expectation lies in relationships. We have to break these patterns. So we have to see them. If we don't see them, how are we going to break them? So when I'm talking about these things, I'm not talking about them to try and say, like, this person's such an asshole, I can't believe they did this to me. I'm not saying that at all. I mean, everything, like anybody, you know, I mean, it's for sure 100% given. Like, you could line up 100 people and you could go in and tell them the situation between two people, and you're going to have it divided of who thinks what, because it's based on perspective of how they have been affected in their lives by similar things. So it's all based on that. But so on this whole thing with my one daughter, you know, it's the one who hasn't spoken to me in 3 years. Like, she's not speaking to anybody right now. I guess she just told the one daughter by writing that she's taking a break from the family. She needs to really focus on herself and stuff like that. And I was like, good. Because, you know, just sitting here thinking, you know, as long as she keeps away from her mom, she's got no problems. That's an illusion. Just the fact that you are putting that much energy into hating me shows you've got some issues you need to work on. So good. I'm glad that, you know, she's going to do that, you know. And sometimes isolation is the best thing. I've said that. It was very beneficial to me to be here and be away from everybody. And I've done so much healing and so much connection to myself, so much understanding myself. And so anyways, you know, more power to her. And then the one daughter who, you know, she's, you know, had these issues, and I can see, you know, her issues, but I can see they are her issues. And I know throughout this process that, you know, I can't fix anybody's issues. The only person that can fix their issues is self. You have to recognize what you don't like. Just like that girl. You look and you see, like, I don't like this shallow shit. This is what's important. That's not important. Paying attention to this has value. That has no value. It's like everybody has to do that for themselves. And so, and everybody has different catalysts for this event to occur, for their own growth. And so, you know, whatever with my daughter, you know, the one that just had the baby, and her not talking to me, and then coming here, all of this stuff, and, she's trying to grow and trying to heal and stuff. The problem is this, the problem is definitely psychology, and that whole thing is all based on Western medical philosophy, and that is to, control us and destroy us and label us and make us be small and little and helpless and hopeless. So, I'm not about that. And then on top of that, where you have the people who are out there talking about spiritual health and spiritual growth, that you have, I don't know what else to call them except the super spirits. It's like this movement of progressives who, just like taking over the woke thing, or taking over the awakening and making it a woke. And I'm so woke, and then the woke this, the woke that, the woke agenda. And then they have, and then it's the misleading of the spiritual. Like, a lot of people are even talking about the spiritual psychosis. You can't sit here and just pretend like everything is fine and focus on that. That is irrational. It's like the building's burning down around you, and you just sit and think like, well, if I sit here and think it's not burning, it won't burn. It's like, well, my whole thing about it is I sure the fuck wasn't sitting here thinking I'm being poisoned all the time. They're turning up the frequencies and all that stuff. And I was being affected by that without knowing. So, I mean, we're affected by some things without knowing. And so for these people to sit here and think, well, if I just sit here and pretend like nothing's happening, nothing will happen. That's their lesson to learn. Because as far as I'm concerned, and I've said it since the beginning, this awakening is about consciousness becoming aware of itself, becoming aware and making decisions for itself, not being a product of its environment. So, everybody can see what they want to see. I know I see what I see. And so, anyways, I know that it is very difficult if you're not listening to the right people to be led in the right direction in your healing. It's very easy to be led in the wrong direction. So no harm, no foul. And I'm not saying anything, that somebody is an idiot or whatever. I mean, especially if they're trying, then the information, is just, they can't find the right information. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, people like me who are out there saying stuff that a lot of us are just hidden. There's not enough of us or something. I'm not sure. To me, I swear, when censorship is lifted off my accounts, that is going to be my change as far as I'm concerned. That's when things are going to start changing and speeding up in my life. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But, so when she had said, I'm all over her boundaries, because I had sent it, this was, for one thing, she's got some situation with her dad or something, and she told me not to send her TikToks, because I'm always sending people TikToks, like, oh my gosh, and so much of it is about, like, confirming something I said, because I always think, well, maybe if they hear somebody else say it, it's just the way I've been treated my whole life is, like, I don't have anything valuable to say. I'm just like this weirdo. And so I'm very disregarded. And so, that's just a difficult thing that, whatever, my karmic balance, I guess, whatever I did before. I don't fucking know. Like, so anyways, I just know, I mean, they wouldn't spend so much fucking time sitting here telling me what to say and stuff like that if they didn't want it heard. So it's going to be heard. I just don't know when. But, it definitely, for people who don't validate me, which is basically my family, and all the whole orbit, my nucleus family, the family I gave birth to, like, I'm just, I don't know. It's like disregarded in some way. It's just weird. I don't know. Because if somebody has something, some medical thing, they'll sure call me and ask my opinion about it. But if I say anything about my opinions, then my opinions are very invalidated. But anyway, so she didn't want me to send, but I think that is why I'm always like, well, maybe if they hear someone else say it. So she didn't want me to send them. So I would try and not send them. But then also I have an impulse problem that, I always did. But my brain injury made me more impulsive. And so sometimes I'll just do something and I don't think about it. And like, like I send that, and I'll sit there and think, okay, should I send this? Like, is there a reason I shouldn't send this? And then sometimes it will flash in. And to me, this is something that I feel pretty certain about, no matter what other people see. And I know I can't explain this right, but I know it is almost like our whole point of existence is just to be here to trigger each other. And so sometimes you have to just follow those impulses. You have to just listen to what they're pushing you to do, because that is what it's all about. You're supposed to. And I know, because sometimes they will just, I'm not saying sometimes, I'm saying every fucking time. If they tell you to do something and you don't do it, it's relentless. They will just repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, until you say what that is they want you to say. And it could be to a stranger, it could be to whoever, whatever. But I know that is a part of what the whole thing is about. So, we're supposed to say things sometimes that hurt someone's feelings, because those hurt feelings get them to think about something so that they expand themselves. So there's all these different ways we work together for growth, but it's very complex because people don't realize that bad can become good or something. Like they just have a distorted way of looking at things. Like it's very it's like humanity's been handicapped or something. So anyways, I had sent one about, because I had seen this girl, and it's crazy too, is because her the guy she's with was against those ones that were just going, and so she didn't get one because he was against them. And so then I thought, even when the baby was born, I said something about those, and it seemed he seems more, like more of his senses are on alert about it. Hers aren't. Not at all. Not in the slightest. And so so I had this, but I figured he was probably saying things to her. And so I don't know why I thought she would be more receptive to this video. There was one of this girl talking about things from the regular ones and baby stuff, which to me was very significant. And so I shared it, and that was it. I just said, oh, I know you don't like to get TikToks, but this is one you really should listen to. And that was it. I didn't say another thing. I didn't call it and say, hey, you better, as a grandma, like this is a lot of fucking pressure. Like, you don't even have that fucking say. Well, nothing. You just go, just go let them experiment on them. Let's see how that works out, because that won't affect me at all. Like, loss will only, oh my God, it's just hard as fuck, man. It's so fucking hard. So, anyways, she was really mad. How dare I send that, and quit stepping all over her boundaries. And so I just didn't say anything for a couple days, and then, I said something about, sorry you can't accept me. I mean, every fucking thing I say, it is my beliefs, because she's always like, keep your beliefs, your interest away from me. Go find people to talk to about your beliefs and your interests. Keep them away from me. I don't want to hear about them. And so then I'm just like, well, I'm sorry you can't accept me, because I mean, you're telling me that I'm not allowed to talk about my beliefs or my interests. What am I allowed to talk about? So you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. And then I'm supposed to just keep silent. because you can talk about climate change, you can talk about whatever you want. And if I disagree with it, that's my beliefs and my interests. And they are against your boundaries because they're against your beliefs. So I need to silence me and be there to support you or something, It's like that doesn't make so whatever in this thing I had said, so she didn't say anything for a couple days, and then she started saying something in it, twisting it around, like I'm trying to make this about me, and sorry that you can't deal with somebody not wanting to hear your stuff, keep it to yourself. And it's you can go find other people to talk about with that stuff. And if you want to talk to me, you need to respect my boundaries. It's like, well, I don't know how you're not seeing this. Like, why would a human being want to participate in a relationship where they're supposed to hide themselves because they are offensive to somebody else? So I just turned to it as like, I hope that your biases are mainly towards me. Hopefully you do open your mind to other ideas. Hopefully you're not just like that stuck. And she just kept being really defensive. But to me, the seeds were already planted. Like, the seeds are already in there. The conversation's already been had. And you can deny it all you want. But, I can see it clearly. And I'm like, won't go. And I said, I'm not, yeah, you can sit there and send me pictures or whatever, say, oh, so cute. But I'm not going to go in conversations. Don't call and tell me about his medical stuff when I'm not allowed to have an opinion. Don't go and talk to me about the weather when I'm not allowed to have an opinion. Don't talk to me about anything when I'm not allowed to fucking have an opinion. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, who wants to be, like, what kind of relationship is that? Like, but this is that progressive mindset. It's bizarre. Like, it is so shallow, and this, I don't even know how to explain it, but it is something that they did to a certain group of kids, like, to get them to, it is like they hate their parents failed them, and they're perfect. There's this whole movement, like a huge whole thing about these people who are blowing off their parents, and that's my youngest has joined that group. They've decided to be orphans or something. They don't need toxic parents. It's like, well, I know there's some really, really toxic parents. But at this point, we have every single kid who's ever had their feelings hurt thinks their parents are toxic. Like, you need some perspective. Like, there's a big difference. Like, I'm not going to discount anybody's experience, but, you need some perspective. I completely see how the universe works with all of these different design of all these different experiences because of perspective. So when you see somebody who, my mom ignored me or something, you want to compare it to my mom, sold me to every boy that came into the house so she could get drugs. Like, there's differences in things that have gone on in this world. When you have got so much heavy hitting trauma coming out in people's lives, and then you still have these kids who are complaining about, well, I didn't get to play soccer or something. It's like, I don't know. I know that there's some really rotten parents out there who you should keep away from them. You shouldn't be around them. I saw this one woman, I might have already talked about her, because she was younger and she was very upset that her mom had sent her to her great uncle's when the great uncle was the one who had been abusing the mom when the mom was young. And then the mom sends her kid. But that is what they told me when I was I think I was 18. I was going to counseling at such a young age because I was broken. I was told I was broken from a young age. There was always something wrong with me. It wasn't until I was 16 when I said, maybe it's not me, maybe it's Dad. Maybe it's him coming in and trying to sneak in my room all the time. And you having to kick him in the face and shit like that. Maybe that's what the problem is. Maybe it's Dad coming in and whipping his junk out and sticking it in everybody's face. Like, maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's not me. Maybe it's this fucking house. But anyways, I mean, there was a benefit to some of the counseling. There was a benefit to a lot of the stuff because it still comes up in my head. I can still see a lot of the stuff. But that when I was very young, I can remember the counselor so clearly. And I was really surprised by what she was saying. Because she was saying that the most kids that are abused are their parents were. And she said, because the parents think, well, it happened to them. There's no way this could happen to my child. Like, this has got to be a one-time thing. Nothing bad could happen to my kid. The bad thing happened to them, so nothing bad could happen. And they'll be even in denial, which, about the abuser. So they'll send people to the abuser's home. I saw it in my own family. I've seen it, and that's what this girl was saying. She grew up being abused by the same person who abused her mom, and just like, I can't even believe it. Can't even understand how her mom could do it. That's what that counselor told me 40-some years ago, that's how it goes. So luckily for me, I had that awareness. I was told that, so I had that awareness the whole time. Like, pay attention. You can't sit here and think your kids aren't going to be. But then, and even when I was up front and talked about it, whatever my younger kid's dad did was so sexually inappropriate. Like, and I know that's part of the damage what my one daughter who struggles with me has to do with, because when we got divorced and she was having to go over there and she was like 3 years old, and I don't know what all she went through, but I'm sure, she holds it against me, that I wasn't there for her. She, but every life experience is, that experience, like it's so interconnected that whatever stuff with me and that daughter would also be replaying from another life to learn. It's like a backing up of lessons into other lessons, so lessons become more clear. So it's crazy how tightly woven our experiences really are with the people that we're in them with. And one thing too is so many people are really getting the perspective of you got to be spending time with the people you love. Like, this is going down, and it's going down fast. And people are dropping like flies, and people, I don't even know in all the different families. Like, I think some families are being hit really hard. Like 3, 4, 5 people going, within a matter of months. I've seen people talking about it. Like, oh my gosh, their mother died, then their dad died, then their brother died, then their sister-in-law died, then their uncle died. And it's like, oh my Lord. And, but those things, it's so hard to explain, because people in this world think like these things just happen. No, they are designed to happen. It was supposed to happen exactly the way it happened. That is the thing, is to start looking at it like it's not just happening for no reason. There's great purpose in every single thing, every breath you take. I think that is something from religion. Every fucking breath you take matters. Every single thing has very significant purpose in life. And so, it just is so crazy, is that life is just like we're all, in this game together. We're all in this movie together. It's like we're all having a common experience, but we're all experiencing our own experiences. But there's a common experience that is occurring. And that is so weird how that woman was like, the collective is a bad thing. When we all come together, we create that togetherness, but that doesn't mean we absorb into it. We can stay distinct. We're going into sovereignty, staying as a distinct being in charge and in power over yourself. And so the creation of the collective consciousness, that is the ability for the consciousness of us all to connect on an empathic frequency towards each other. Just because like there's a pack of deers or a flock of birds doesn't mean they lose their individuality. I think with some of those, like a flock of birds, I think I've heard before, like there's certain things where it's one consciousness that is all of that whole thing. It's all different states of consciousness, so I can't for sure say that each bird in a flock is an independent conscious being that is going in, but an independent conscious being can go in and be a bird. So, you can go in and experience anything you want, because it's just like, it's a simulation. I mean, you could, if you had strong enough control of your mind, go into a meditation and go into the experience of the bird. You can go into, all different experiences just in a meditation. So it isn't your, like people think like everything is like flesh and blood, and you go out of that and you go into another one, but it's all just states of consciousness. Even the passing from this reality is just a state of consciousness. The whole drama behind the going is the creation of it's like the creation of the experience. Like it's just created. It's pretend. It's not real. Like none of this stuff is real. It's all pretend. Like we're pretending that this stuff is going on. Once you become awake, you're pretending. You're pretending to, you can't play the game in the same way. The game my kids are playing is very different than the game I'm playing. And I think I have seen other people talk about this, so I do think it is this thing about observation. There is something about like the watchers and the consciousness of the universe, watching. It's like watching over itself or something. So you as the consciousness who can become the observer, because I've seen other people saying that they feel like they're pulling out of the whole thing and they just feel like they're just watching. And it's like, that is what I have been saying. It's like you pull free and then you begin to watch and observe. Then you start seeing how things go. And then the people who are in the game, which, most of the people I know are in the game, and they want to keep pulling you in the game. It's like, I can't go in and pretend. I can't go in and, like, I don't need you to like me so much that I'm going to go in and pretend like climate change is real so that you like me. I'm not going to go in and pretend like, we're not being poisoned so that you like me. And that's not something like, I didn't create that. I didn't want to be poisoned. I didn't sit here and think like, what could I manifest that would be horrible? Like, this is something that we came in to experience. The only reason I know that I'm here to experience it is because I'm here to experience the changing away from it, the exposing of it, the seeing the truth. I mean, I feel like for my whole life, I was trying to get people to see things they couldn't see. And so that's what I want. I want to see, and I do. Like, I want to be acknowledged for my sight, for seeing, like, by my family and stuff. Like, I don't know. does become a point where it is like, Jesus Christ, you want him to see, like, to see the truth. You don't have to fucking come and say anything to me. But once the truth is all over the place, I'll know. I'll know. I'll know that you know. And so, yeah. And I know there's plenty of people who aren't going to say, you know, oh, I was wrong. You know, I should have listened to you. I shouldn't have made fun of you or any of that stuff. I know that's not going to be. But, you know, that doesn't have to be. It's just the knowing in myself. There comes this point, and I keep telling my guides, there just becomes a point where it's like, it can't just be what you're telling me. I need to, you know, I need more truth, you know. So, anyways, I don't know. Well, everything just keeps going. I mean, Joe now has got another raid, way more documents. I mean, it's like, come on. Motherfucking come on. Like, they would have busted into Mar-a-Lago. They would have found one motherfucking thing. They would have found one motherfucking thing on Trump in any of these things they've done. He would have already been arrested. But Joe just, you know. And then there's a commercial even Kamala and Joe put out that is them just sitting at this table, just patting each other on the back. How great a job. And I mean, they're so impressed with how good they're doing. And she just can't even believe what a good job he's doing. Like, God. I mean, they are making a real impact. They're doing so good. So that's just part of the ludicrousy, the ridiculousness of the bullshit. So, you know, just part of the smackdown of like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? So, anyways, you know, one of these things has got to get him arrested. One of these things has got to take him out. Okay, well, she's up, so best be going. But anyway, so there's more stuff with the banks, more things going on, more things with Joe. So there's movement. It's just slow as fuck. So I'm just going to go back to my nursing duties and take care of Stella and see what's up. So have a good day. I know I'm trying. Talk to you later. Bye.